Sure. What an interesting interview there, Sakina. Such interesting perspective. So now we can ask our viewers, and we'll ask them directly and see what they think after hearing that interview. But we've got a phone call first. We've got Ernest calling through. So he's on the line. Good morning, Ernest.
Good morning, Leon. How are you?
Very well. How are you? And tell us what's on your mind.
Well, firstly, I want to say I don't agree with what Professor Jonathan Jansen has said. You can't scrap the whole year because it will create a commotion in the education sector. So the government and the education department must sit down, just like they have done in the health department. Come up with a plan on how best, find a way how to salvage the remaining year, because it can't be that everyone from grade 1 to 11 be progressed through. What kind of generation I will be leading if you do that? So I don't think the year should be scrapped. A plan must be done on how to salvage the remaining year.
Ernest, thanks very much for your views and for giving us a call here. So, Sakina, there you go.
Yeah.
Not everyone in agreement.
No, not everyone in agreement, and one wouldn't expect everybody to be. But interesting views all the same. Let's hear from Tumelo in the Northwest, what his view is. Good morning, Tumelo.
Hi, how are you, Sakina?
Very well, thanks. So what are you thinking?
All right. My thought here is that partly one agrees with what the professor said. With the rule that says pass everyone for the year, especially the grades 1 to 11, and apply a different rule for the grade 12s. All right. So, but given that there has to be some work that gets done, and yet one has to observe the rule of the social distancing with schools, it is also correct that you cannot bring everybody back into the school system all at once. So the idea would be rather, given that matrics needs to prepare for universities, and whilst the professor speaks of negotiations having to take place between the higher education and the basic education department, there has to be some proper work that gets done in preparing matric. So the idea would be bring back the matriculants into the schooling system, where you then concentrate on them, after the lockdown is done, really teach them, get them ready, and not wait for the January year to bring the catch-up program, because we don't know how long, the pandemic will last. But also what one should also do, similarly to, because what I'm saying is that if you bring back the matriculants, then it means you have a certain number of students that are back into the schools, and not everybody's back, and therefore you can utilize, the classrooms that exist in spreading up learners and the likes, and then you can still adhere to the social distancing part. And then you do the same thing with the grade 7s that must go to grade 8, because those people are also, it is important for them to get ready for the high school, because, primary and high school are not the same. So you bring those back into the system, into the everyday learning.
Okay.
And all the other grades, just yes, Sakina, the other small grades, you can then perhaps utilize the weekends in order to assist them, with some catching up as well and the likes,
All right.
So,
got you, Tumelo. Got you. I just want to give an opportunity to others as well, holding to see how many views we can squeeze into this time.
We've actually got a principal on the line from Kwakwa. He wants to remain anonymous, but he's got views. Sir, thanks so much for calling in, but please can you keep it quite short, just because of time?
I will be Sakina and Leanne. I think that's a progressive decision and an idea, Sakina, thinking that we are not sure as yet when are the schools going to open. But I think that will be a brilliant idea. The fact of the matter is that next year we will then talk to a point where we will say let's shorten the holidays and so on and so on. But I think that's the best idea. Because this gives teachers stress too much. There's nobody who's stressed like teachers, Regina.
And thank you so much, sir. And this is what Professor Jansen was saying, Leanne, that it's not as if teachers and learners are going to go back into the schooling environment without any stress from what they've been through. They're probably going to be tired. We're all going through all of these emotions right now. So, and the idea, I think some people still understand it as, no, they shouldn't go to school. That's not what he's saying. It says, when this lockdown is lifted, when you eventually do go back to school, you carry on. But don't put pressure to try and cover everything and squeeze everything into the remaining time. Don't do that. Just carry on, cover as much as you can, and then between grade 1 and grade 11, you pass everybody.
Well, that'll be seen when we go back to schools. But I like the idea of bringing the higher grades, particularly matrics, back in first as we do phase life back in, as we get into that unlockdown phase. Anyway, we got to go. We got to say